In today's breaking story, a major shakeup has just hit the political stage. A top MAGA senator has officially stepped down right as the No Kings protest movement kicks off. That's right. Across the country, we're seeing massive demonstrations aimed directly at Donald Trump. And one thing is becoming clear. Those tied to him are starting to fall away, one after another. It's a turbulent moment for the Trump administration, and the timing couldn't be more symbolic. Now, before we dive deeper, I hope you're all doing well. And yes, happy No Kings Day. Because once again, Americans are raising their voices in unison, declaring loud and clear, we will not accept another king. The scale of these protests tells its own story. They're not small, they're not scattered, they're enormous. And the reason is simple. People are fed up. Fed up with the idea of unchecked power. Fed up with leaders who forget who they serve. This is a moment where frustration has boiled over into action, and the message is echoing nationwide.
We also know there's a ProPublica investigation that more than 170 Americans have been detained by ICE, with 20 held for more than a day without being able to contact their lawyer or a loved one. And that's what the No Kings protest is about. Donald Trump says, I'm not a king. And yeah, we get it. You're not a king. You wish you were a king, and you're running this administration as if you should have those kinds of rights. The lack of respect for the Constitution and the laws of this country are astounding. And Trump even told Kristen Welker when he was on Meet the Press a few months ago that he didn't know if he had to uphold the Constitution. And in preparation for today's show, I just wanted to go over, a few of the things that people who are going to be out there on the streets peacefully protesting are upset about, starting with the basics: signing an executive order to do away with birthright citizenship, which is literally in the Constitution, sending troops into blue cities,
Oh, you mean
unilaterally implementing tariffs, which Congress gets to do. I already talked about the 170 Americans who've been locked up. Cracking down on the First Amendment, detaining students for op-eds you don't like, targeting law firms, universities, reallocating funds appropriated by Congress to fund your big ICE force, firing inspectors generals that are looking into your friends like Elon Musk, making billions off of crypto scams, and your kids are running all over the world making deals. And the Trump administration has defied 1 in 3 judges that have ruled against him. And you're seeing that from judges appointed up from Reagan up to Donald Trump that are saying absolutely not. You are breaking the law in taking some of these actions.
And honestly, it's been almost surreal, even a little funny, watching how hard Republicans have been scrambling to cope with this moment. The reactions range from denial to outright spin, but no matter how they frame it, the cracks are showing.
There is no question now. When people were kind of frowning about the use of the word authoritarian and fascist to describe Trump at the beginning of the year, but we've seen nothing but that ever since.
Right.
The prosecution of political enemies, soldiers on the streets, everything that you read about in, the attempt to divide, demonize the enemy, calling them, terrorists, calling people who are just marching in the streets, terrorist supporters, and Antifa and Hamas and all that stuff. And you see, it is really, really insane. And what they're trying to do with all these lies, these are all these people. That's one of the problems that leads to authoritarianism, is that you have a bunch of people who are lying liars who lie, and they continue to lie.
Things have just taken another dramatic turn, and this one is shaking the political world to its core. That's right, a top MAGA senator has resigned, right as the No Kings protest movement bursts onto the national stage. Today's top story is nothing short of a crisis for Trump's inner circle. One of his most loyal allies has been forced out in disgrace, just as a new wave of nationwide demonstrations erupts under the rallying cry, No Kings. The spotlight is now on Vermont State Senator Samuel Douglas, one of Trump's loudest defenders, who abruptly announced his resignation after being exposed for his role in a disturbing private group chat. The revelations, first reported by Politico, uncovered nearly 3,000 pages of messages between young hardline Republicans plotting to seize control of the party on a pro-Trump platform. But buried in those conversations were repeated racial slurs, cruel mockery of minorities, and deeply offensive remarks. Douglas himself was caught making derogatory comments about people from India, while his wife chimed in with an anti-Semitic remark. The backlash was swift and unforgiving. Both Democrats and Republicans condemned the revelations, and within hours Douglas claimed he was stepping down to protect his family. But let's be honest, few are buying that explanation. To most observers, this was a forced resignation, the inevitable downfall of a man who had become too toxic to remain in office. And all of this is unfolding against the backdrop of the No Kings protests, a movement rejecting Trump's expanding grip on power and the cult-like loyalty he still commands within the GOP. From Washington, D.C. to small towns across America, demonstrators are flooding the streets, demanding accountability and warning of what they see as creeping authoritarianism. The message is clear. Trump's movement is taking blow after blow. His allies are crumbling, his supporters are being pushed out, and his opponents are mobilizing with a new sense of urgency. Even inside the Republican Party, some are quietly admitting what's becoming impossible to ignore. The Trump machine is starting to collapse under its own weight. And that's a wrap for today's video. If you made it this far, you're officially part of the crew. So thank you for hanging out with me. I put a lot of time into creating content that informs and hopefully gives you something new to think about. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps more than you know. And if you're new here, consider subscribing and turning on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next. Also, I want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to add your own perspective, I always enjoy reading what you have to say. All right, that's it for now. Take care of yourselves, stay curious, and I'll catch you in the next one.